Well, the All Blacks get a win in Ireland, folks. They went into this one as underdogs 23-13. As an All Blacks fan, I'm obviously pretty chuffed about that result, but it felt weird. It didn't feel like we saw the best Irish side tonight. Some of that's the All Blacks, but some of that's the Irish side. Like some of the knock-ons and just soft penalties conceded were pretty frustrating. For the All Blacks point of view, our line-out was solid. That was one area that I was worried about because we had our main hooker missing from this game. Our line-out was largely very good, although weirdly the Irish didn't seem to contest a lot of our line-outs, which is bizarre because even in our own half, that's an area I would have thought we would have been under a lot of pressure. Took the points when they were on offer. Got some width in the ball in the final 20. Pretty pleasing overall from the ABs. Looked certainly the better of the two sides. Ireland, knock-ons, soft penalties, line-out was poor. Did capitalise on the All Blacks' yellow card where they scored 10 of their 13 points. But ultimately, it didn't look like Ireland. It's a weird one. But anyway, we'll go through some of the key events and the stats and you guys can let us know your thoughts. The stage was really set for this one. Number 1 in the world, number 3 in the world. Ireland, phenomenal home record. Haven't lost there for 19 games or something like that. They've got the kind of pre-match or last few weeks drama between Rico and Johnny Sexton. And then Rico's the guy who leads the haka. Even my heartstrings were being pulled hearing Ireland's call. It was a hell of a one to belt out. The stage was set for an epic test. And the first half was a bit scrappy. There's some light rain, so to be fair, there's, a reason for some of the handling errors, and to be fair, it's Ireland's first game. I didn't think they would come in too rusty, given a lot of these guys, play their club rugby for the same team, but it just didn't seem to be firing. Porter charged down Ratsima early. That was a good bit of pressure from the Irish boys. The first penalty conceded was the All Blacks. Geordie Barrett running an obstruction line for a kick through, and boy was Nick Berry focused on that one today. He got a lot of blows of his whistle, mostly against the Irish, but the only card of the game goes to the ABs. That was from a Jamison Gibson Park box kick. The Irish were able to take the lead with the resulting penalty, 3-0. The All Blacks got one back not long later. Kelleher not releasing at the breakdown, and there was a few soft ones from Ireland in that regard. Kelleher's one was soft. Henderson's one was egregious. Just at least show a little bit of daylight after you've made the tackle. You know what I mean? So 3 points apiece with the All Blacks slotting the resulting penalty. And untidy. Both sides. Aki knocks on a bit of a sitter. The All Blacks knock on under some Irish pressure. So, the All Blacks had a lot of ball in the Irish half, especially in that first half. But some good defensive plays, like Ringrose hammered Rico, which the crowd loved. Gibson Park tackled D-Mac when he kind of wasn't ready for it. So, some good defensive pressure. All that All Blacks ball that they had in the Irish half came to a whole lot of no points. And then on 25 minutes, the All Blacks had a big call to make. They got a penalty. Do you opt for touch or do you go for points? They opted for touch. And this is the first line out that went awry. It wasn't straight. And as the commentators rightly pointed out, given the Irish didn't contest, it should have just been play on. I went back in because I was streaming it, so I was able to they didn't show replays, I was able to just kind of go back, and there was no contest at the line out. So despite the fact that it wasn't straight, as far as I'm aware, it should have been play on, but I guess that's one of the things when you change the rules every 5 minutes. It's hard for the human referees to kind of keep track of everything. So it ends up being a scrum. The All Blacks get a free kick from the scrum anyway, so it kind of works out evenly, but it's just one of those weird ones. And the Irish give away an advantage. D-Mac knocks it on, but they go back for the penalty. So the All Blacks, after all that, from a no-arms tackle, slot the penalty they could have taken in the first place. But hey, 6-3. Ireland had a kind of reverse chance not too long later where they had a chance to potentially opt for points, but they likewise went for touch. It was New Zealand at the breakdown not supporting body weight. They opted for a maul. Maul got stopped, went through a couple of phases, but then ball went forward from them as well. I think there was a bit of skullduggery at the ruck to kind of send that ball flying out the back, but the officials missed that one. And eventually Ireland are conceding more of the penalties. They get the first yellow card warning of the game. They may be a bit lucky not to give away a yellow card the entire game, given that the penalty count finished 13-5. Usually if you get that many penalties conceded and a couple of warnings, it'll be followed through on. They managed to escape the yellow card itself, but New Zealand opted for another 3, 9-3. I feel like New Zealand are looking pretty good. We're looking pretty comfortable in a game which, as I mentioned, is a bit scrappy. But then TMO gets involved for a Geordie Barrett high shot on Ringrose. He kind of starts low and rides up into it. I saw it live and thought, ooh, they might go back and take a look at that. They sure enough did. He ends up getting yellow carded for it on review, but it ends up not being upgraded to a red. My dad sent me a message and one of my Scottish mates sent me a message. They both said it was a bit harsh. But like I said, I thought it's one of those ones that was probably going to be yellow. So that'll be a debated one, but the Irish, with the yellow card, actually get the game going. They kick the initial 3 points to send us into the sheds with only a 3-point deficit, 9-3. And to be fair, given the numbers, like 9-3 is not a bad result for the Irish boys. Like they've only had 37% possession, 45% territory. They've conceded almost double the penalties, 7-4. They've had a pretty average line out. They've missed 2 from 6. The All Blacks have missed 1 from their 5. And that was the not straight one, which I still reckon probably should have been played on. But like clean breaks is 4-zip ABs. Defenders beaten is 14-3 ABs. Run meters is ABs. So the All Blacks have had a lot more of the running in that first half. But it's only a 3-point scoreline. Turnovers conceded is 7-4 with the All Blacks coughing up a bit more ball. But as I said, the Irish, with what limited ball they've had, have been equally guilty of just shelling some pretty straightforward ones. Second half, though, Ireland come out of the gates pretty well. New Zealand get pinged again for a bit of obstruction from a kick, pretty much straight from the kickoff. And then Ireland used that to send us back into New Zealand territory. The ball actually comes loose. Like New Zealand's defence initially holds, but then from the loose ball, Sam Cane has to kind of scramble back and gather it and gets caught in his own goal area after running it back in. So it ends up with a 5-metre scrum to the Irish. Doris is able to have a big carry off the back. Doesn't quite make it himself, but the next couple of phases they're able to spread it wide to Josh van der Fleer. Nice pass from Jamison Gibson Park. And try time Ireland. So he gets low, he rides the hit of Tamaiti Williams. And Ireland go in front. So 13-9. As I said, given the game, it's not a bad return that the Irish are in the lead. It looks like it might be going to be one of those ones where you can not play 100% and still manage to kind of eke out a win. But that's the final scoring for the Irish. And we're literally still got pretty much an entire half of rugby to play. New Zealand did find themselves under a bit more pressure, though. They had a quick line out at one point where like Will Jordan and was it D-Mac? They didn't really seem to know what to do. The Irish defenders were just up in their faces. They ended up getting themselves turned over, which in other games might have been punished. But as I mentioned, the Irish boys were prone to some kind of silly penalties. They gave away a dumb one for a neck roll, which is just a get out of jail free card for the All Blacks. So they ride that bit of pressure, and then on 48 minutes, during the yellow card, the All Blacks are able to slot a penalty when Almoa gets one over the board. The breakdown, the ball falls off the tee, so Demek has to do it in a hurry, but he slots it just enough, so 13-12. Yellow card finishes 10-3, so it's that kind of standard 7-point deficit during the yellow. But yeah, the All Blacks will be happy to at least get those 3 during the yellow. The Irish knock-ons continued from there. It was pretty frustrating viewing. If you're Irish fan, you'd be banging your head against the wall. The All Blacks were getting some phases, but not a heck of a lot of go forward. But another Irish penalty conceded. The breakdown meant a shot. D-Max one for that one, hits the post. But bad news continues for Ireland when O'Toole goes off after kind of a big collision in the tackle. He doesn't come back on. He fails his HIA, which is a pretty rough one. So it means Beelum has to pretty much play the entire game, and he was looking pretty knackered. Not long later, the All Blacks won a penalty at scrum time, which saw them take the lead with D-Max slots at 15-13. And then the final 20, the All Blacks actually managed to find some width at last. Rico got it out to Talea, and that's when Henderson gave away his really soft penalty for not releasing on Damien McKenzie. 18-13. I thought maybe a yellow card warning's coming at that point, but I think Berry had a kind of slight word with the boys, but nothing too much. And then finally, the All Blacks get a try again. It's some width out on the right wing. Savia, Talea, like D-Mac has the kind of supply pass in the build-up, and then left again. D-Mac's involved. They get it to Almoa, who puts the assist in for Will Jordan. D-Mac misses the conversion, but 23-13. D-Mac involved in the build-up play, so good for him pulling those strings. That's the final scoring of the game. And to be fair, that All Blacks try started from a bit of a nothing kick from Kieran Frawley. Like, we didn't see the impact we would expect from him. Like in the South Africa series, he was great. In this one, just not so much. He drops like a really sitter of a kick through not too long later. So yeah, not getting that impact from the bench from an Irish point of view. James Lowe had a nice 50-22 from basically nowhere on 72 minutes, which you thought, if the Irish can score here, maybe they're still in the game. 10 points is not dead and buried, but they went through a bunch of phases. Eventually, Savia is able to win themselves a penalty at the breakdown to get out of dodge, and then the game finishes with an Irish throw at a line out straight to an All Blacks jumper. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird one from Ireland in that they were just, as I said, kind of a shadow of themselves. And I want to give credit to the ABs because they played, look at the stats, they played well, but you feel like Ireland don't usually play that kind of flat. How much is that the ABs and how much is that Ireland? I guess it's a bit of both. Possession finished 59-41. The territory 50-50, so the All Blacks a lot more ball. Run meters 459 to 202, a lot more meters. Defenders beaten 30-15, literally double. Clean breaks 9-1 is insane. Who gets 9 clean breaks against the Irish? But then only one try to show for it, so that's unusual in itself. Tackle percentage 85-80 with the All Blacks having the higher defensive shift. Lineouts 8 from 9 for the ABs, and as I mentioned, it's only that one not straight that got called, and then the Irish 7 from 10 is lower than you'd like. Penalty count 13-5. 13-5. That's probably the most decisive one of all the numbers. Individuals, Will Jordan 90 metres, 2 clean breaks. D-Mac 90 metres, 6 defenders beaten, gets man of the match. Lowe had 5 defenders beaten, and James Ryan had 17 tackles, but yeah, ultimately not Ireland's finest performance. Their home streak is done. That'll cost them number 1 spot in the world. And for the ABs, they came into this tour under a heap of pressure, wondering how many games are we going to win. If we lose to England, lose to Ireland, lose to France, then it's going to be kind of end of day stuff. But not. The All Blacks have gone to Europe and gone 2 from 2 thus far, plus the game against Japan, 3 from 3 on this end of year tour. They got France next, will be an interesting one, and the Irish have got Argentina, so still big games to come. You guys let us know your thoughts. How much of this is Ireland being flat, and how much of this is the All Blacks just being that bit sharper? Maybe some of the pre-match predictions about the All Blacks coming into this one with match preparation compared to the Irish, it's their first game. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the decisive factor. But you guys let us know your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I will talk to you guys again soon. See you later.